This is symptoms everyone have experienced. Symptoms of the most common disorder in the world. Sweat, fast heartbeat, tunnel vision, huge discomfort. You're legit feeling the fight or flight response. Yes, that fight or flight response. The thing is, are you excited or are you experiencing anxiety? It's the same symptoms, but two totally different experiences. You may be waiting in line for the most fun roller coaster you know, or you may be waiting to stand in front of a huge audience without knowing anything about what you're going to say. But I'm here to say that this is not the end. It's not an absolute, because the physical and psychological symptoms are identical. Your body can't always distinguish between danger and opportunity. The body goes into full activation mode anyway. Maybe that roller coaster really is the only roller coaster you're actually afraid to take, being rumors that people have died on it. And maybe that audience are grateful to just see you on that stage. And you know this challenge will finally give you a shot to over-deliver. The people may wish for a genuine representative, someone who is not following a script, someone who is vulnerable and informal. You know this. You feel your body shaking because it knows that you're soon going to crush this presentation. On one hand, a scary story, and on the other hand, an inspiring story. Only two different stories that you believe. I want you to notice this intricate distinction. It is the same experience, only it is defined by your definition of the moment, defined by what you believe as your identity, your harsh mental reminder of your earlier experiences. You can't change what happens to you, but you can change your reaction to what is happening. So first, here's what anxiety is doing in your brain. When your anxiety gets triggered, your brain is treating something as a threat. It's not trying to be dramatic. It's running a survival program. And in that mode, you don't argue your way out of it with a perfect sentence. You redirect attention and give your brain a different job. So use something simple that's hard to do while panicking. Numbers. Count up by 13. So for example, 26, 39, and so on. Or do the no sevens game. You count 1, 2, 3, but you can't say 7, 14, 21. Yeah, you just replace them with a beat. It forces working memory online and pulls your attention out of the spiral and back into the present moment. Second, here's what anxiety is doing in your body. When that threat program turns on, your body gets a surge of stress chemicals. Your heartbeat ramps up, your breathing changes, your muscle tense. The adrenaline itself clears fast, but the wave can still take a while to settle, especially if it's a panic spike. So the body can't really sustain that state for too long because it demands a lot of energy. So a lot of panic attacks ease off only after 5 or 20 minutes. So whatever you choose, numbers, breathing, grounding, don't do it for 20 seconds and decide, oh, it didn't work. Give it a few solid minutes. You're not trying to win an argument. You're waiting out a nervous system that's temporarily stuck in high gear. The third technique is to change what you connect pain and pleasure to. Here's the thing about anxiety. The fastest relief usually isn't a trick. It's fixing the source. Sometimes that's direct. You're anxious because you're avoiding something. Taxes, homework, an email, and the avoidance is feeding the alarm. So you do the smallest possible version of the thing. One step, then another, then another. And sometimes it's deeper. You don't just need action, you need insight. That's journaling, therapy, finally naming what you've been carrying. So now for the in-moment tools. So here's a short list of what is actually working. The first method is easy to forget in the moment, but also easy to do. It's slow belly breathing. So you're basically breathing into your belly button. Yes. The second method is to ground yourself through your senses. Feel your bodily presence, like being aware of your body. Third, relax your muscles on purpose. So you can feel your face, make your muscles loosen. Feel your stomach, your shoulders, and so on. Just let them drop. And the fourth one is actually I learned from a close friend battling anxiety for a lot of years, and it was her go-to when she felt anxiety. So when you feel anxiety coming, focus on touching all of your fingers with your thumb in chronological order until you start feeling relief. So something like this. Maybe the most effective one is to move your body, even a brisk walk. Tony Robbins is an expert on this. So that means, for example, you go up and jump and dance and stuff like that. The thing about doing something is that it changes your physiology. You take action immediately, so it stops anxiety to get a foothold. Sixth, when anxiety hits, call a friend. Very simple. Seventh, irrational and rational categorization. Question the thoughts that appears. Does the worry make sense? Because it may be a relief realizing that the thing you're worrying about does not make sense. And lastly, if it's serious, for example, it comes on for no reasons, affects your everyday life and quality of life, I recommend to contact a therapist. And if you're unsure, I both have an anxiety test and a 20% discount code down in the description. So then there's the unsexy part that matters more than people want to admit. Caffeine can crank anxiety up. Alcohol can create a rebound later. Weed can also make it worse for some people. Also, it's worth pointing out that according to research, weed is also the drug that most often triggers psychosis, next to amphetamines. However, personally I have heard people saying that it is their most effective way to reduce anxiety because it slows down their overactive mind. But this is something I would not suggest, both because it's illegal in most places and the risk usually outweighs the gain. I've heard from people that they use cannabis to reduce anxiety. However, research shows a mixed picture. THC may increase anxiety in some, while CBD looks more promising in some small studies, but we don't have a strong enough data to recommend it. And if you're underslept, underfed, or dehydrated, your nervous system gets way easier to tip over. So yes, use the tools. But if you want anxiety to shrink long term, you don't just calm the alarm, you deal with what's setting it off. But that's everything for this video. I hope you enjoyed and thanks for watching. Click on that like and subscribe button and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.